August 7th, 2017. Welcome to the Philly podcast. And it's it's a tough day to be a Philadelphia sports fan. Um, you know, we all know that most of us know. I hope everybody, a lot of people should know that uh, Darren Dalton passed away last night at the age of 55 after a 4-year battle with brain cancer. They announced it during like the 10 o'clock hour. Philly sent out a thing. And that was that. Something that I unfortunately saw coming. If you guys tune into the Flunk podcast that I did, when I was down the shore, I tried to do one, and I pretty much said that I pretty much read a report saying that Lenny Dykstra went on a show, pretty much told the guy that was doing a show that Darren Dalton was not doing very well, and this was last Monday. That they pretty much said that Darren Dalton's not gonna end up well. And this could be his last week, and sure enough, it turned out to be his final week. Passed away at the young age of 55, and enough with that. But Dutch, he was the leader of the '93 team. Now, I'm gonna probably get blasted for praising this '93 team, telling everybody this was probably one of the greatest Phillies teams, and this was a fun team. Now, obviously, by the sounds of it, I wasn't around to see this '93 baseball team, but so it's kind of wrong for me to make a claim saying that this was one of the best Philly. I mean, the stats say it's probably one of the best Phillies teams. For me to say this is the greatest team that I ever seen, I mean, that's kind of effed up because I wasn't around. But by the looks of it, and watching all the old, and my grandfather, my grandfather pretty much told me a lot about the '93 team. That's why I actually bought that '93 hat, Phillies 1993 hat down the shore, about how they were a bunch of misfits, and they were in the year before, in 1992, they finished last in the East, and then they came back in '93 and they went to they won the pennant, only losing to the Toronto Blue Jays when Joe Carter hit the 3-run home run to win it off of Mitch Williams. Dutch was the leader of that team. He was the leader of the 1993 Phillies team. He was the catcher. And you know what they say about catchers. They are the quarterback on the field. They are the coach on the field. They are the coach on the field. And Dutch was the coach on the field. It was very tough to see that report last night that Dutch went. I mean, I didn't watch him play, but it's still very tough. And because, I mean, if any of you guys seen the old videos, I mean, they were like the 2004 Boston Red Sox. They were crazy. They were nuts. That clubhouse was booming. And this is a team that finished last in the East the year before. Now, I did watch some of the press conference today talking about Dutch, and it was kind of tough. They had Milt Thompson, Tommy Green, and David Montgomery there, kind of reminiscing on his life and his career as a Philadelphia Philly. And I mean, It's very, like I said, it's very tough. It's very tough to see, very tough to. I mean, I'm assuming it's horrible to deal with. Um, but this is a guy that was a three-time All-Star, the leader of the 1993 team. Played in his last season. He was traded in the middle of the year. I think the trade deadline to the Marlins, and that was '97. That year they won the World Series, '97. And he went through a lot of knee problems. He had a lot of issues with his knees, obviously, since he was a catcher. And then at least he walked out of baseball with the ring. It didn't happen with the Phillies, but he did spend a great amount of his career here in Philly. So it's going to be, it's been a tough week if you're a Phillies fan. I'll tell you that right now. With the whole Pete Rose thing, the team's playing like shit. It's probably a PR nightmare in the Phillies PR department. It's probably been a nightmare there. So, I mean, it's sad to see. And now it's going to be, this weekend is alumni weekend down at the ballpark, and they're playing the Mets. Supposed to be the weekend that Pete Rose got into the Wall of Fame, but clearly that cannot happen. They're playing the Mets, so those imbeciles are going to come down and they're going to be assholes all the time. So it's going to be a tough one. I'll say that it's going to be a very tough one. But the good news is the Phillies won yesterday. Nola pitched a pretty decent game. He got robbed of a couple calls, but it ended up working out at the end. Camera up, delivering a couple runs to win the game against Colorado. So they still a game for Colorado. And then they all tonight play Atlanta tomorrow and Wednesday. Come back to play a 4-game set with the New York Mets, who just got spanked around by the Dodgers. And hopefully they can win some games over the next week. But maybe the Mets might have a coming out party. They might, come to Citizens Bank Park and just torch us like they did earlier in April, hitting all those bombs. But Lucas Duda's not there. But you still have Conforto, Cespedes, all them. So that's still gonna be a shit show. So that's that. I mean, if you want to, Dutch. It was a very tough thing to hear. This is a team that I really respect, although I never seen them when I wasn't around to see them play. It's just tough to see. Okay, so just watching some NFL Network. So so I just wanted to get some baseball talk out of the way. With Dutch, obviously, and then I was watching the Mets Dodgers last couple days. Oh my God, the Mets are so bad, but yet they still give them every single freaking primetime game. It's like the Knicks. It's obviously something with New York, but the Knicks, they have a lot of celebrity fans and everything. So that's that. But the Mets are they're just a bad baseball team. They're just a bad baseball team. And Cody Bellinger just tore him apart the last couple of days. He just did. He tore him apart. The Mets playing good. They played good baseball on Saturday, the first couple innings, and then he just got killed. It was great to see. It's always nice to see the Dodgers and Chase Utley, who really means nothing on their team, just beat them. Just sweep out the Mets. And the Dodgers, listen, the Dodgers, I think, I've been saying that the Dodgers choke, and they've been master choke artists ever since, they played the Phillies back in 08, 09 in the playoffs. They can have the great regular season and then choke in the playoffs, just like the Washington Capitals. But I think this could be the year for the Los Angeles Dodgers. I mean, they're just tearing things up. They added you look at their rotation. Ryu. I know that this is not in the 5 day order, so it's Ryu, Darvish, Kershaw. I don't know if he's hurt or not, but you could throw him in. Rich Hill. That's four. I can't remember their fifth guy, but I mean, you got four good pitchers, five good pitchers. That explosive offense with Bellinger, Seager. Bellinger was the one that tore the Mets apart. I think I said Seager, but still. Bellinger, Seager, who they pretty much, and then he has, I don't know, done a few other guys. Taylor, I heard, is pretty good. Like, that's who they should build their team around. I mean, they are just really raking the National League. They are just killing. I think that if they bring this type of play in the playoffs, I think they're going to be very good. But you never know. They're still the Dodgers, but I think this could be the year that they break it. So that's that. No viewers. This is a dead time. I'll tell you, a dead time. But still, I this is the time that works for me. Okay. And then, so yeah, you got the Dodgers who are playing great ball, and I think they're going to do something really big in the playoffs. I mean, I know they are masterful choke artists, but I think I've come around with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Then you have the Mets. I'll know, but I'll talk about the Mets. The Mets, they're saying that they're building for 2018, and I've heard people say that the Mets are going to be better and back and better than ever next year. I don't think they're going to be the same team. I don't think they're going to be the same. They're trying to make this like it's 2015 all over again. The Mets were so plagued with injuries last year. They're so plagued with injuries this year. Carvey's not pitching the same. They have a lot of guys who are not playing the same, and I think this is kind of it for the Mets. I think they're over. I think they're done, and I think they're still going to be very irrelevant. And Rosario, and then they have a first baseman prospect, so I don't think they're going to be relevant. So yeah, I mean, I don't think the future is bright for the New York Mets.
It seemed like the offensive line they were more enthusiastic, more motivated.
I was supposed to start at 3, but I wanted to get to a couple things, so I started at 2:45. So we'll get into some football talk. I thought I was going to spend more time on Dutch, but I pretty much covered the bases, and the Phillies and baseball. But we'll talk about the Eagles. Went to camp yesterday. I went to training camp with a buddy of mine, and it was the second last open practice of the year. Joel, they drew 36,000 people down at the link. That means that they're going to get a lot of guys. They're going to get a lot of people down there, or people have a high expectations for this team. Is what I meant to say. I watched a little bit of practice. I really kind of walked around the stadium. Like that's kind of the you watch a little bit. I try and watch like half the practice. Spend half the practice watching it, and half the practice, walk around the stadium, seeing different parts of the stadium. That's, the stadium's pretty much open. You don't want to do that during a game because It's a game. But, you just want to explore different parts of the stadium. And I'll tell you this, Aguilar looks really good in the slot. He's been doing very good in training camp. Now, I know this is training camp. I know this is before the season. The preseason games are starting up soon. I mean, like, I'm kind of in favor of him going in the slot because he's pretty much. I mean, in my opinion, he's outplaying Jordan Matthews, and now they just announced that Jordan Matthews is on the trading block. And you guys remember a couple weeks ago when I went on that thing saying is a trade lingering with Jordan Matthews? I said there's a very good possibility. Well, look who's right. Jordan Matthews is on a trading block, and they're going to probably trade him for a corner, and they cannot negotiate a contract. Now, am I in favor of him going? No. If you can get a good corner from him, if you can get a really good corner, really good guy in the secondary, then boom, I'll take it. But don't get like a former 7th round pick for Jordan Matthews. Now, I do put my trust in Harry Roseman here because Harry Roseman can make good trades late in the season, late in the preseason, I should say, or late in training camp when no one's really expecting it. Like, look what happened with Bradford last year. They traded Bradford for Minnesota's 1st round pick. That they stole that. I mean, which was Derek Barnett. We'll see how that works out. But that's still a very good trade. I kind of put my faith in Harry Roseman for this. I mean, if he gets a good player, then boom. If he gets a bad player, then he's gonna get heat. I mean, and also you can very well put in perspective that there is a chance that they won't even trade Jordan Matthews. So we'll see what goes on there. And then they also announced that Carson Wentz is playing the first preseason game, which is Thursday. Should be interesting. Probably give him a couple series, maybe 3 series, and taking snaps. He did look good. I mean, I'll tell you this, he did look good. When I saw him at practice, he's throwing the ball a little bit different. He's not like holding it like upside. Remember how he would like hold it? He would hold it. Here, I'm gonna have to get the ball and show you. Light scrimmage here versus light scrimmage anywhere else. A little bit different. All right, you're going to see my face again. So Wentz would hold the ball like this. So he'd go like this before he throw. He would go like this before he threw the ball. Now he's like going like. It's kind of cool to see how he's evolving in his mechanics, and that's very good to see with Carson Wentz. And he's throwing some deep balls. And that's something that I think he can really grow on. And that's why they picked up Torrey Smith. That's why they're trying to get Aguilar better. That's why, I mean, we'll see what the deal is with the Matthews, but we'll see. But they really want to work about the deep ball. How about this? I'm actually watching the training camp show on NFL Network. They said they picked up. They got Jay Cutler. The Dolphins got Jay Cutler. They picked him up. This is a guy that was about to take a job with Fox Sports. And now he decides that he wants to go back to the league to play backup quarterback for the Dolphins. Now, that's a good move by the Dolphins. I mean, personally, I think I think he's better than getting Kaepernick. I mean, Kaepernick. I mean, they came down. I think they came down to either Kaepernick or Cutler, trying to get Cutler back in, and now look what happens. They get Cutler. They just had the press conference, so they needed a backup quarterback after Tannehill went down. But I probably should put more faith in Matt Moore, because Matt Moore got him to the playoffs last year. Helped get him in the playoffs, and plus they have the running back Ajayi, and now they have a whole situation with Jarvis Landry. He might be in trouble. I heard something about him might be getting in trouble, so we'll see where that goes. Down in Miami, is there any group chat in action? I didn't really check that. Please. No group chat action. It's a dead time. It's a dead time.
He's really good. He's really good at his job. He takes care of quarterbacks. Kind of look at his track record of where he's been.
Jason Tatum says that Philly didn't know that Boston was going to pick me number 1 overall before the trade. Okay. I was talking with a guy before I went in the link yesterday. And we were waiting in line to get in the stadium. And we were talking about, different things, different sports. And then the subject of the Cowboys comes up. And we say, and I pretty much say, oh, yeah, the new Brady Manning is going to be Wentz Prescott. And he agreed. Then he brought up something that says Fultz and Tatum is going to be the next big rivalry in basketball. I definitely agree. I mean, but the thing is, they're 4 young players. They're 4 guys that have, 2 of them have a year under their belts. 2 of them don't. So we'll see how that plays out. But I think there might be 2 players from Philly rivaling 2 other players. If you know what I mean, like 2, Wentz Prescott, something like that. Like a player rivalry, I don't know. All right. All right, I guess I'll get back on the topic of Dutch. Kind of wanted to get my football points out of the way. I barely really talked about Dutch. Shit, I feel like I need to talk about him a little bit more. So Darren Dalton, here's his career. He had a career batting average of .245, 137 home runs, 588 RBIs. He had 50 stolen bases. On base percentage 357, slugging percentage 427, OPS 724, OPS plus 114. Scored, he had 891 hits, 511 runs scored, and then 3,630 at bats. That's pretty good. And how many years? 1, 2, 3. Started 83, finished 97. Played a couple games in 83. So 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97. Played 14 years. 14 years in baseball. And he pretty much he played for only 2 teams, Phillies and Marlins, and he pretty much played only half a season with the Marlins plus a world, and then he won the World Series with them in '97. in that game where they played the Indians, and I think there was a walk-off hit in that game. I don't know who hit it, but that was the last time the Indians were in the World Series before this past year, when they played the Cubs. So, yeah, I mean, that's still pretty good stats. I mean, he was elected in the Phillies Wall. He went into the Phillies Wall of Fame back in 2010. That's when he was there. He was inducted. And then next year, I think Kruk went in. So it must be a tough day if you're one of his teammates. I mean, yeah, it must be a very tough day for you remember on that if you're one of his teammates. So, yeah. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna pretty much talk about today. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. It's kind of depressing, but it is what it is. All right, I'll see you guys.